The movie begins in a forest town in India, home to a boy simply known as Kid, who loves hearing his mother Neela's stories about Hanuman, the Lord of the Monkeys, one of the most important and revered gods in Hinduism. When Hanuman was just a child, he craved a golden, shiny mango, only to discover it was actually the sun. When the gods learned of this, they punished him by stripping him of his powers. The rest of the story will have to wait because we jump to the future to see an adult Kid fighting in the Tiger Temple, a bloody underground boxing club. Once he's thrown out of the ring, the establishment's owner, Tiger, a foreign man, appears and makes it clear to his audience that here they worship only one god, the Indian rupee. With that said, he grants victory to King Cobra, Kid's rival, while Kid heads to the locker rooms without any glory. While cleaning his blood, he is reminded of a fire and the man who caused it. Although he returns to reality before the past can drag him in completely, Tiger then hands him his reward for the match, half of what Kid expected. In his defense, the foreigner reminds him that he pays Kid for bleeding, and Kid did not bleed enough in his last fight. When the protagonist claims he needs money, Tiger responds that he should dance like a monkey. Perhaps then he could earn it. Later at a bar, Kid watches a TV report about Baba Shakti, a local spiritual guru who is gaining many followers and political influence through religion. Some even believe he intends to run for president, given his support from the Sovereign Party, notorious for controversial land expropriations. Seconds later, Kid is approached by an informant who tells him Queenie Kapoor's itinerary. She is the owner of King's, a high society brothel. The next day, we see a man, apparently blind and disabled, manage to steal Queenie's wallet. After passing through many hands, the wallet finally reaches the person who requested it in the first place, Kid. Thanks to this, he has the perfect excuse to enter the luxurious King's brothel, where he asks Queenie for work in return for giving her wallet back. She immediately rejects him, arguing they do not hire people from the lower classes. However, she changes her mind when he shows her his burned hands, capable of withstanding anything. Before leaving Queenie's office, Kid notices a picture of her with Rana Singh, a familiar face from his tragic past. During his job in the brothel's kitchen, he meets Alfonso, a gangster who works for Queenie. In addition, he witnesses how Queenie mistreats her prostitutes and hands them out to her wealthiest clients, without caring that she is also involved in the drug business. Once he gathers enough money, Kid goes to an arms dealer who has an arsenal worthy of John Wick. The protagonist, however, prefers something more discreet and effective, like a revolver. Wanting to earn Alfonso's trust, he invites him to one of his underground fights and tells him to bet on his rival. At the pivotal moment, Kid endures his opponent's attacks, and when he starts bleeding, he sees the ghost of his mother among the crowd. As promised, the protagonist ends up biting the dust, generating a lot of money for Alfonso, who in return promotes him to bartender at King's. In his new position, Kid witnesses firsthand how the most famous and well-known politicians in India surrender to their darkest vices in the brothel. Beyond that, what he really wants is to get to Rana, who resides in the VIP room. He just needs a way to get in. For now, he has no choice but to blend into the brothel, which becomes quite complicated because he can't stand watching these unscrupulous men abuse the courtesans, especially Sita. No matter how hard he tries to resist, he ends up remembering that day in his childhood when a police squad led by its corrupt chief, Rana, massacred the inhabitants of his village to take over the territory and add it to Baba Shakti's domain. The only thing that helps him return to the present is an adorable puppy in the back alley. While he is feeding it, Sita catches him off guard and warns him that he shouldn't work at King's if he can't handle what happens inside. She also tells him to stop feeding the animal, as it will come back every day for more. Far from following her advice, the man continues looking after and training the dog while also practicing his marksmanship on a street mural. Of course, he doesn't set aside his appearances as Monkey Man, the infamous fighter who never stops losing. Over time, the dog becomes capable of delivering his revolver to the alley behind the brothel, slipping past the security guards. Likewise, Kid is allowed into the VIP room for the first time, distributing vials of cocaine as if they were glasses of wine. At that point, he recognizes the man groping Sita, Singh, the man who ruined his life. After remembering the importance of his mission, Kid adds bleach to the corrupt policeman's cocaine. Singh quickly feels ill and heads to the bathroom. There, Kid aims his revolver at him, ready to shoot in his mother's name. Unfortunately, Singh seizes a brief distraction to strike him, resulting in a struggle for the revolver. When a mobster caught in the middle tries to grab the gun, Kid causes him to lose his balance, and the weapon falls directly into a toilet. The protagonist uses the toilet chain to his advantage by strangling Singh, but Singh overpowers him with brute force, slamming him into the sinks. Although it seems like the end for Kid, he pulls a knife out of his leg and stabs his enemy in the eye. After that, he smashes the giant fish tank and prepares to jump out a window before Singh's backup arrives. Maybe another day. With no option but to fight, he makes his way through the emergency stairs using his bare fists. In the parking lot, he takes Alfonso's souped-up tuk-tuk to make a grand escape. Of course, he cannot leave without its rightful owner. They still cannot celebrate, as the police are after them. Using his driving skills and the tuk-tuk's own capabilities, the protagonist manages to evade the patrol cars. However, when a girl appears in the middle of the road, he has no choice but to brake abruptly, causing a patrol car to crash into his vehicle. While Alfonso manages to escape, Kid is arrested by the police. On the way to the station, he summons strength from nowhere to fight back against his captors, shooting them without mercy, since they are Singh's henchmen. In other words, they do not deserve to live. After that, he jumps onto the pavement to continue his escape. The problem is that, out of all the places to hide, he ends up in the underground brothel of a psychotic pimp who brutally attacks him with an axe, not caring how many people get in his way. Kid subdues his rival and tries to strangle him with his handcuffs. Just then, the police arrive and open fire on him, forcing him to flee across the nearby building rooftops. Unfortunately, the sniper on a police helicopter manages to land a shot, causing him to fall inert into the river's waters. As he hovers between life and death, he remembers the happiest days of his life when he walked through the forest with his mother. Miraculously, he is rescued by the women of a local temple, dedicated to the Hindu deity Ardnari. After a painful recovery, he awakens under the watchful eye of Alpha, the temple's guardian, who does not take credit for saving him. Instead, Alpha believes the gods have given him a second chance for some reason. When Kid tries to leave, Alpha warns him that only in the temple will he be safe, as similarly to his situation, the followers of Ardnari are being persecuted by Shakti's growing political movement. Speaking of him, after a public demonstration, Shakti receives a visit from Singh, who informs him that some nobody is interfering in their business. Nothing to worry about, though. Regardless, Shakti orders him to eliminate that nobody before he becomes somebody. Upon learning of Kid's childhood traumas, Alpha helps him face them once and for all. How? Like any shaman would, using hallucinogenic powders. Before immersing himself in this experience, Alpha warns him that pain will leave him once it has taught him its lesson. Similar to Hanuman's story, a crack opens in Kid's chest, or rather a window, a psychedelic landscape dominated by a golden, shiny circle, the sun that the monkey god devoured. Finally, the protagonist returns to the destruction of his village, caused by Singh's men. In the midst of the disaster, he was able to see Shakti, protected in the comfort of his luxurious car. His mother then took him in her arms and hid him in a secret compartment in their home. Moments later, Singh burst in and tried to grope Neela, who scratched his face. As punishment, the policeman whipped her and abused her in front of Kid's despairing eyes. Afterwards, Singh gave the order to set the village on fire, including Neela. From his hiding place, the protagonist saw his box of matches bearing the king symbol. When the fire began to spread, he tried to rescue his mother, but the flames burned his hands. Recalling all this, Kid regrets having failed his mother, but Alpha believes he did the right thing. While Kid sees only his scars, Alpha sees a boy who fought until the very end to save his mother. His hands are those of a warrior destined to defy the gods. Following the rhythm of a temple drummer, he begins to hit a punching bag to regain his will to fight. His training sessions become more popular among the locals, and he ends up earning their admiration. At the same time, he keeps track of Shakti and Singh's movements, who have launched Yoshi, their puppet, as the presidential candidate of the Radical Sovereign Party. The ongoing violent demonstrations by this political party and the country's uncertain future only strengthened Kid, to the point that he destroys his punching bag. His crusade for vengeance started as something personal, but now the fate of India is at stake. Shortly after, a woman from the temple shows up severely injured, having confronted one of Singh's officers who tried to seize their territory. They do not intend to bow down, but neither do they have enough money to bribe the corrupt officers. Faced with this situation, Alpha assures them that God has a plan, and judging by his look, one might guess that plan involves Kid. With the rest of his savings, the fighter returns to Tiger Temple for one last dance with King Cobra, and this time, he bets on himself. He never won before, because he never wanted to. Tiger tries to hide his astonishment and sends Baloo the bear into the ring, a Hulk who is twice the protagonist's size. Taking his name very seriously, Kid replicates monkey movements to stand up to Baloo, who has a spiked bat provided by Tiger. Even so, Kid dodges him effortlessly and floors him with a brutal combo. Then one of the spectators erupts in cheers, Alfonso, who has kept a low profile since the protagonist's arrest. Although the crowd demands more blood, Kid drops the bat, refusing to finish Baloo off. This further heightens the spectators' excitement, and they chant his name like never before, Monkey Man. Thanks to this epic victory, he earns enough money to save Alpha's temple. After modifying his mask, Kid shows up at the Diwali festival, brimming with frenzied followers celebrating Yoshi's victory for the Sovereign Party. Shakti and his associates celebrate at King's, while the protagonist takes out the guards at the entrance with his fists. It's only the beginning of what will be his toughest battle so far, though this time, he's not alone. He has the support of the temple women, who are deadlier than they seem. Once at the elevator, he ruthlessly finishes off a couple of guards, biting down on the knife to cause them even more harm. Just then, he detonates the gas cylinder he left in the kitchen, throwing the Sovereign Party members at the brothel into chaos. Armed with fireworks, Kid reaches the section where he does what he does best, fight. When it seems he has defeated everyone, the elevator opens with another batch of enemies. Luckily, Alpha and the temple women arrive at that exact moment, ready for the most epic showdown in cinematic history. Standing on the bar, Kid takes out multiple foes while the women unleash their fury like never before. Before reaching the VIP room, the protagonist faces an enraged Queenie wielding a pistol. Oh wait! Sita just took her out with a serving tray. Very delicately, Kid takes the tray from her and uses it to slice off one of Queenie's fingers. Upon reaching the VIP section, Singh greets him with punches, asking if Kid's mother sent him for more suffering. With his mother's memory always present, Kid launches himself to fight back, dodging Singh's blows with monkey-like agility and hitting him with the strength of a gorilla. With Singh on the ground, Kid grabs a high heel to keep attacking him every time he tries to get up, until Singh stops trying. He's dead. Using Queenie's severed finger, the protagonist gains access to the penthouse, where his last target, Shakti, is hiding. The self-proclaimed prophet tries to calm him with a speech about ending the cycle of violence while pulling out a concealed blade in his shoe, stabbing the unsuspecting Kid. However, Kid manages to stop the other blade with his hand. After a tense struggle, he uses Shakti's own weapons to stab him. Gasping for air and drowning in his own blood, the false prophet begs for mercy. Only God can forgive you now. Thus ends Monkey Man's revenge. Now only Kid remains, collapsing from his wounds. It is time for him to reunite with his mother.
If you want interesting movie recaps, like, share, and subscribe to follow us for more movie recaps.